Welcome everybody and welcome to AI Industry Discussions. In this vlog, we discuss AI and the implications of AI in different industries. Topics such as AI maturity, data collection, and the organization around AI, and industry-specific use cases are what we will be covering. Our guests today are Johanna Lindberg and Christian Gunther from LTU, who are active in the project Predictive Movement. And in just a second, they will introduce themselves and the project. Your host today will be me, Björn Treje, and with me, my colleague, Peter Ebing. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Björn. Thank you. And hi, Christian and Johanna. So nice to have you here.
Hello, great to be here.
Hey, thank you.
We first found out about you and the project that you have been running when doing another one of our interviews with a company called iTeam. So we heard about the project and we thought that it sounds super interesting. So we just said we need to listen to, the world needs to hear what this is. So we're very excited to learn more about what you have been up to. So as a start, it would be really nice to hear, first of all, a little bit about who you are, and then perhaps some overview about your interesting project. Do you want to go first, Christian?
Yeah, I can go first. So hi, I'm Christian. I'm a researcher in the machine learning group of Markus Lawicki here at the LTU, the Luleå University of Technology. And before I joined the group, I was working over 10 years in the industry, basically as computer scientist and in different areas. So I worked in wind energy, market research, communication agency. And for some time, I had also my own company about virtual worlds. When virtual worlds was a big hype. I don't know if someone remembers Second Life.
Yeah.
was a fun time. But the last years I spent mostly in working in the e-commerce in a startup, which was founded by a traditional trading company. So it was a big trading company group, and they did traditional trading. And if you don't attach to the new technologies, for them, new technologies like e-commerce, you're out of business someday. And so they founded a startup where I was responsible for all the technical issues and automated the supply chain for the e-commerce. My career sounds maybe a little bit chaotic, but they have in common that it's driven by new technologies. So I'm super interested in new technologies. And new technologies are interesting for every field. So it's or for every industry. If you don't stick up to new technologies, you're out of business if you don't use them. And but actually, for me, it turns out that my place, if I want to really go deep dive into the technologies, my place is at the university. So I'm a little bit disappointed about the industry on using the new technologies. And I did some interesting projects like bringing real-world buildings or events into virtual worlds was super interesting, or using NLP, so natural language processing, in a market research company for analyzing quality feedback in customer surveys. And in another company, we tried to predict wind power. So we did some wind power forecast for windmills, or as I already said, to automate an e-commerce supply chain is also very interesting in digitalization. That's super interesting. But if you want to really deep dive, my place was then finally at the university. And in the beginning, I was a little bit afraid that I got lost of the practical part. So I'm more the hands-on guy. I want to do things. And but the LTU has really a focus on applied science, and they even set up the AI Innovation Hub to get in contact with surrounding industries, and really looking for collaborations with the surrounding industries here. And if I put it to the extreme, to the top, in the machine learning group, we have a vision claim, which is applied AI for the people, with the people. And this maybe sounds now like a big marketing buzzword, but actually it's also kind of attitude, so that every researcher at the university don't forget what is the research for the AI. It's for the people, and what is good can be done good for the people. So that it's more than an attitude than a marketing buzzword. Well, it's also good marketing buzzword.
We converge.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm very happy
good
that. Yeah, sorry.
No, I just say it's good with a proper amount of marketing buzzwords for universities as well.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to be part of the Predictive Movement project, because this is really a project where we try to bring AI into, let's say, to the public, to the people, and try to bring companies to collaborate on the platform. But we can go into details then later. Yeah, and great to be in this vlog. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And I'm Johanna Lindberg, and I've got a completely different background, I would say. I am one of 2 project leaders in this predictive movement, and I've been working with Christian and Anders Gullberg, who was the initiative takers for predictive movement since, I think, 2017. My driving force, I would say, is rural areas. So I'm from Stockholm. I grew up in Stockholm. Always a bit sad because I felt it was just too far for everything that was fun. Realized that I need to move somewhere. So when I met my husband now, who's now my husband, we moved to Kebnekaise fjällstation, and we lived there for 3 years, running that. And then I was also doing a PhD at the time on environmental issues. But when that was done, we moved to Åre. And then I was working, since then I've been working actually with rural development. And when you work with rural development, you need to, or regional development, you need to find new issues that is important to develop the society. So first I was working with sustainability and lots of environmental issues, and then I was working with small businesses, trying to make them sustainable and how that affects rural development. And one day I was standing in my office, and my boss came in, and he did that very often. He was just, a very chatty person. And then he walked out and put his head back into my room and say, "By the way, you're now working with the broadband expansion." And I was like, what? I had no idea what this was. But then I was really lucky because I had a friend who was the sustainability officer of Ericsson. So I just called Matilda at once and said, "I got this strange job. What am I going to do?" And she explained it. Now this is really a good thing. I mean, it's just so interesting, and for rural areas, and now coming in here and working with predictive movement, it's really a good match. You need to start big social projects, less complex, and in rural areas it's less people. Of course, it's further distances, but it's just less complex to start and to develop these kind of big projects. So that's actually why and how I got into this project.
Interesting. I'm just trying to melt, the first thing you said, that you actually ran the Kebnekaise station. But it's
yeah, well, kind of good, because as I am from Stockholm, I get laughed at quite a lot being out in the rural areas. And I can say that I've been actually for 13 years of my life, I've been living and working in extreme rural areas, because I've been a professional sailor as well. So that means that I've been crossing the Atlantic, and I've had people on board trying to teach them and how you live when you don't have access to everything. And I've actually also been talking in this in the 90s, these internet, well, these GPS, what's they called, the satellite phones, and I think they were 2,000 kronor a minute or something.
Yeah, it really
yeah, and the antenna was huge, and I was told to be very brief in the call.
Got it.
All right, so it's super exciting to have you here.
Thanks.
Absolutely. And this project of yours, how can we learn more about this? It's quite a huge topic. What's the definition? What is it that you have been exploring?
The thing is that what we do, it's a platform for collaboration on transportation. And when you talk about a digital platform, you don't actually have to see the difference between goods or persons. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a package or if it's a person, because you just have to find a match on how to transport. So how this works, and later on maybe that would go over to Christian, but in general, what I've learned about digitalization is that you have to be very intuitive, and if you are intuitive in on how you want to change the world, and then you go to someone who knows how to code this and knows AI, they can always say no or yes. So that's actually what happened with Predictive Movement. Anders Gullberg, who's one of the initiative takers, he's good. He was an assistant professor at KTH, the Royal Technology School in Stockholm, and he was into the transportation system, and he realized that this must be able to be done. And then he contacted Christian at iTeam, and Christian is like, when he was understood the problem, he's like, yeah, this can be done. So it's just combining people and packages and goods in any way in a platform. And it's the AI part is the predictive part. And I think also there, for my part, and how to understand this, it's, well, of course, in my world, especially when I'm in the rural areas, I just have to tell you a short story. I was sitting there talking I had my daughters at home, and then she was going from Jokkmokk, and actually outside Jokkmokk, 50 kilometers, and then I was talking to a friend on the phone, and after a while I said, oh, it's really a problem, they want to go in, and I don't want to give them a ride, and then we were talking, and then she's, after a while, well, and she got a phone call from her husband on another phone saying, oh, he's coming by right in a minute, and he's going into Jokkmokk. And this is something that we're talking, and she could join because we got this information. If I hadn't got the information, of course, she'd missed the ride. But now with predictive movement and with the predictive part, this can happen. This can actually be done, that you can match people and join the transportation, to get a ride somewhere. Whatever kind of ride you would like.
When I was trying to read up, see, what is this platform? It would, to me, it sounded a bit like, okay, it's like Uber, but with anybody. Anybody can be an actor, and anybody can be a consumer, and nobody is profiting but society, actually. So it's more or less like putting the same kind of technology in the hands of society. Would that be a yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely right. So if you look at the current service providers for, let's say, PostNord or Schenker or stuff like that, they are doing the stuff we were talking about right now. They deliver. But the platform is to bring them to collaboration on this, let's say, global problem of logistics and transportation. So it's hard for all the service providers to figure out their own solutions and to be resource efficient and to be competitive in this market. And this is feel kind of strange because it's everyone has to participate in this transportation stuff, and it's just one global solution would be enough. We don't need so much competition on the delivery in the rural areas here right now. It's more that nobody wants to have the delivery in the rural areas because it's not so much money in it, but we still need a solution for it for the rural areas. And if it works for the rural areas, you can also bring in the same systems for the urban areas. So it's really the collaboration is a focus to bring them on collaboration on.
And you were also saying, is it like Uber? Yes, maybe, but the big difference here is what you were talking about, the commercial part. There are other initiatives and platforms that are almost the same as Predictive Movement, but they're commercially owned. And that's an issue for everyone who owns their own or has got data, they don't want to give it away to someone to earn money on. And so if this predictive movement, it's important that it's not owned by a company, that it is a stiftelse, foundation. Foundation in some sort, and that it is also that the data that's sent in, it's you don't give it away. It's encrypted. Thank you.
Encrypted.
And that means that when you give away your data, or we have the data in the predictive movement, you still own your own data, and you also decide how much data I want to give away. And that's important for the postal logistic companies. They don't want to collaborate with the data in the urban areas, because there they earn money. But in the rural areas where they don't earn money, they want to collaborate to have the same transportations. But they decide that themselves. And maybe they have a package that they don't want to, they want to bring it out themselves for some reason or whatever. They don't put it into predictive movement. They're not obliged to use it all the time, and they're not obliged to use it with all their data, all their customers, just the ones that they choose themselves. And I think that's really an opening for people to use it.
Right. So have you?
So very cool. A question from me. Is my connection super bad? Can you see me at all?
Yeah, we see. We see you. A bit low frame.
With the formidable lag, I think it's been going up and down. I think maybe I should jump out of the call to make it less out of this interview to make it less annoying, because it's coming and going, my picture and my sound. So this is the reality of not good enough broadband, as you were talking about before, Johanna. I'm wishing
Are you living in a rural area?
Nacka, outside of Stockholm, so not super rural. But I'm
counting.
I'm going to leave you to do this without this bugging video stream. So thank you so much, and have a pleasant talk.
Good talk to you later, Peter.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's see here. All right. So what I was thinking about it, I mean, the project is, I mean, it sounds super interesting, and but what would you consider the scope of this project, and how far have you come?
How far have we come? That's fun question for you, Christian, because you maybe that would be more the.
I can talk from the technical part. Yes. So we are starting with package delivery, and we already got a few weeks ago data from some service providers to analyze the data, and so first part will be just the package delivery, and where it goes is actually a good question, because the platform is open for everyone who uses it, and we will be in contact and in dialogue with all our service provider who already sent out the data to see what helps them best on the platform and to fit them best. And then in the second step, we will maybe choose delivery also of people, or transportation of people. And but it's really open where the platform will go with the people. What is the need of the people? So it's really kind of test stage right now in the rural areas here to see if it fits or not, if the concept is working or not.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you sort of see if how would you evaluate sort of if it works? I mean, you have the data on one hand. I assume you would have like a consumer or a client on the other hand then?
Yeah. So in September, October, we're going to do tests in one of our test beds. That's in Ljusdal, north of Stockholm, in Gävleborgs län. And so then they're actually going to do a test and see how it works. And Ljusdal is it's a less complex place than lots of other places, because they've got one company already in Ljusdal who transports almost all the packages. So they have a hub there. So that that is so that then you're only working with actually one customer who has to evaluate the platform. For them, we're using an app which is called Telegram, which is not very sophisticated, I would say. So this is also a thing with Predictive Movement, that it is a platform, but we don't have an app connected. And the thing is that when it's actually up and running and when it's working, you must be able to connect your own app. So if you are a Voi customer in Stockholm and you go to Luleå, we don't have Voi, but you can still use the Voi app and say, well, I want to get from Skurholmen to the university. And then Voi says, we don't have services here, but you can take the bus, or someone is coming to pick you up because they're going there anyway. So that means that Voi keeps their customers. This is not done yet. So that's another thing, which is a big problem, because Christina's been talking about that we're going to go on and get transportation with people. We could connect whatever industry. I've been talking about local food transportation and so on. Then you need another app, but you also need the other customers. So, but you have to work on this, because you have to be and meet the people and make them understand that this is possible. The good thing, though, is that when they connect to Predictive Movement, they don't have to understand that they actually connect with the postal services, because that is done. Yeah. That collaboration is done without them knowing it. So that is a big difference from all other initiatives that I've seen, because they are very geographical. You know, we work together with these farms, or we work together within our house, or in our village, and we do the collaboration with the transportation.
But basic idea is that the world don't need no more apps. The world need no more apps.
It's one app to rule them all.
Yeah, and so the platform is really open for everyone who wants to connect the app with a platform or their app, and also with registered customers. It just belongs to their business. We just provide the platform where they can connect to and collaborate with other customers on the platform, or users. I mean, actually, it's not customers, more users of the platform, because it's a non-profit platform.
Oh yeah, of course. So I mean, I can say that if you would actually make this work, it would be a super experience and a super value for society. But there's a lot of moving parts in this project. I can understand. I mean, and I assume that's why I try sort of to reduce the complexity of the problem by starting in Ljusdal, where you can only you have the data. You only have one service provider, and you get the data, so you can start evaluating like only the data and the model and then the predictions.
Yeah.
And it's also less complex in the societal part, because I was talking this morning to Anders Lindberg and how to get people to understand this within the different authorities. And then we thought that we have to, what we have to do within the Trafikverket, the Transportation Authority, we have to basically get everyone to understand that this is possible. To understand the difference in what is digitalization of the transport system. So basically everyone needs to take this step, that you are able to collaborate with all kinds of transportation. And it's a big step to take in the mindset. And then, so that's extremely lot of people. So, and then I explained, well, and then he was, because he's been working with transport, then he got a bit, stressed. He's like, oh God, then we got lots of other authorities that we have to work with as well. And I was like, yeah, but if you work with the Postal and the Telecommunication Authority, it's like 5 people who works with this and has to understand it, because it's only the postal thing that they have to understand. It's a big thing there too, because you have to change regulations and policies and so on. But it's not as big thing. So that's the good part. If they understand their thing, the predictive movement will do other things for them, and that's a digitalization for you, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, and then there's this grand vision. I just browsed the predictivemovement.se, and I see that you have visions for like 10 years ahead of what this might be in the future. And you started. When did you start the project? Like a year ago or so?
This it's been it's utvecklingsdriven innovation in Swedish. It's in Vinnova.
Yeah. Okay.
Vinnova has got different kind of supports, and one of this is made up in 3 steps. So you've got a pre-study, and we did that in 2016, and now in 2019, or we must have done it in 2017. It doesn't really matter. But now we started here in 2020 in January, and we're working for 2 years, and then we hope it's possible to get more funding to implement this on a bigger scale in the program.
So you started now in January in 2020, and you already gone to being able to test this with data in the one region.
Yes.
I mean that is impressive.
That is impressive. It's
that's also a strong collaboration with this I-team. So we're doing a great job. That's
I-team has put lots of resources into this. So there's like 7 people from I-team working on this.
Yeah. And we really start with, let's say, a skateboard, and then we move on to a bicycle, and then we build a car. So it's really step by step. It's a minimal viable product first, and then we move on here.
So what has been the hardest part so far? If we're speaking only in 2020 here, and when you started this phase, what's been the hardest part?
I mean, there are a lot of technical issues also to build a platform which is open for different AI algorithms, to make them exchangeable, or to evaluate which algorithm we should put in, and actually to find open source algorithms we could put in, because we don't want to reinvent the wheel, and these are really hard problems. If you want to do route optimization, or it's like a traveling salesman problem, or if you have a vehicle route problems, it's pickup and delivery problems that are really hard, difficult, complex problems. So to find all the techniques and combine it on the platform, it's kind of hard. But beside the technical issues, I guess the biggest issue here is the mindset, as Johanna already said, to change the mindset of all the people to use this platform and to use these technologies. But I guess you can.
So I guess it's in getting data, but when I'm not really into the technical part. So when you describe the technical problems, I would say that maybe that is a bigger issue to find the open data than actually finding the data that goes into the computer, because the company still holds it. But within 3-4 months, they have said yes. So actually, it's not a real problem, I would say. In my world, things doesn't happen very fast when you work with societal problems. So I think that was kind of fast anyway. So I'm not. I would also lean on the mindset, and I can't remember now if I was talking about a seminar that I went to, or a webinar that I went to the other week on SKR, the Swedish, it's an organization for municipalities, and they should be quite far ahead on digitalization and transportation. And when they were talking, it was like they were sniffing on what we're doing, and they were trying to explain it and saying this might not be able to be done, but we want to go there. And then we're actually, at the same time, I-team is coding what we're doing, and we're trying to explain this is being done. So I think the mindset will be a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like on one hand you say that mindset is an issue, on the other hand you say that it's a great collaboration project. When you approach people with this project, what are their sort of initial thoughts on it? It's like, hey, we want to be a part, or is it more like, no, sorry, you can't give you our data?
It depends. It depends if you are someone that you are going the logistic. they have to be, they would be stupid if they would say, yes, you can have our data. They have to say, oh, this is odd. And they have to have some time to reflect. Otherwise, it would be a really bad company, I would say. Jump into any whatever. But talking to people who are just, they just have to spread the word, or they just have to convince other people, like within the county administration board, they are very interested to join and to make this happen.
So what's the next step? Let's say you have a successful pilot in Ljusdal. What happens next?
Well, in the project-wise, we've got 4 municipalities that we're going to try out. So the next step is then testing in Pajala, and after that, Arjeplog and Västervik. And it will be different. I mean, the platform will evolve. So in the best of worlds, when we are testing this in Västervik, which will be the last municipality, we will have being able to do this with the apps from Posten and from DHL and Schenker instead of using this Telegram.
Yeah. And do you know that sort of for each region or municipality you add that? Do you know what complexity you actually add to the program? For some reason you start with Ljusdal, which is low complexity, even though it's a high complexity problem.
No.
Oh, don't know yet.
At least you know that.
It's kind of hands-on project,
The word agile, it is coming and going. I mean, it's on 50 times each project meeting. Oh, but this is an agile project.
But I mean, that is a sort of a good project mindset. I mean, it's not. I mean, the things that you think you know that are wrong are the things that are dangerous.
There will something come up, but we are fast in testing. So if you can run the first test at the end of this year, it's perfect, and then we go on. It's really agile. Which I guess I'm coming for university, maybe, I don't know.
But yes and no, because I've been. You said that before, that it was really nice to work at LTU, and when well, I'm a bit older than you are. So when I was, I've been working both in county administrations and in county boards, but also at different universities. So I've been collecting workplaces, and I guess I've been to 9 different universities, and 4 different county boards and administrations. And LTU, it is different. It is very different. So before, when I was working at the administration, I had difficulties finding my way in, and working at other university, I've been difficult finding my way out into the companies and to the society. But here, I was doing the digital agenda when I was working at the county board. And I'd said to a neighbor who was a doctoral student in information systems that, I'm doing this and I don't know how to reach into the university. And she said it to her professor, and then like, whoosh, hundreds, I think it was like, I mean, so many people who just called me and mailed me and, we want to join in and so on. So it's really, it's a mindset. And you were saying the mindset you had with IA. If you say it and if you use it, it's really good to because we to have a special mindset and have it written down, because if you talk about it, it happens.
Yeah,
it's a culture.
I mean, from the perspective of AI, many people are maybe afraid of AI, that is the super robot that comes and stuff like that, or industry is not attaching to AI and it's using AI, and maybe this is also an approach to make AI public, so that everyone can try out AI and collaborate on AI and test and see if it fits and where it goes and work on it. So maybe it's also an approach on this side.
I totally agree. I think the biggest risk within AI is that AI sort of be a niche competence at a specific set of players.
Yeah,
because everybody needs to have a broader understanding of AI.
that's right. And the topics are really hard to solve. And it's a research topic, and if only big companies can solve these problems, and then it would be capitalized all on these companies, which get the market leader and get monopolists, and that's maybe the wrong direction then where AI or the technologies can go. So it's.
So on the topic of AI, you being in the academia and university, I mean, it's easy for me living in a big city region working on a sort of tech startup to think that everything is AI, because that's how my LinkedIn feed is like. As speaking of a general opinion at the LTU and other places in academia, how much focus is there on AI?
Yeah, well, I just joined the LTU in March here, but what I get so far is that's really AI absolutely focused, and they're building up more and more, like the AI Innovation Hub, to get in contact with the industry and to find projects where research and industry can work together. And also CDT has a project on AI, right? That's where they try to collaborate. It's really focused. And the machine learning group is also a kind of new group. It's I guess 2 years old right now, and it's growing. And there's a lot of funding going in machine learning and AI. They're really pushing it.
So would you say the focus is mostly on being sort of applied AI, as you mentioned before, or is it state-of-the-art research?
Well, we also do state-of-the-art research in the back, but it's I would guess it's more applied than state-of-the-art.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, best case would be if we bring state-of-the-art research in current industry. That's our goal, actually.
State-of-the-art applied AI.
Yeah, that would be great.
And Johanna, you come from a different perspective here, not coming from the technology AI part.
So when you talk about LTU, it's actually it's known, I would say, as the mining company, mining university, because that's quite a big part here. And I know there are quite a few projects working together with LKAB and SSAB on AI. I don't know what it is about, but so I know AI here at LTU, it's spread all over different areas, all the different subject research, and it would be more applied, as this is a more applied university. It's a technical university, and that is a difference. When you work at a technical within the subject areas of technical research areas, it has to be applied. That's a thing with technology. So it's not philosophy or of science in that way.
Yeah, but maybe we have also to define AI, and in this case again, because AI here is more a tool or which can provide some solution for complex problems. It's not a separate thing which we just focus on AI or machine learning. It's integrated. It only makes sense if it's integrated. So we see machine learning and AI more as tool which can help to solve problems in different areas, different industries. And so we are really connected to the other departments in the university and to the industry. Doesn't make sense to close our doors and sit there and try to find some new complex models on our own.
No, I can understand.
And
So
I can only say from the outside perspective on AI and what's going on. But since we employed Markus Lewicki, your professor, there's been lots of good researchers, you included, Christian, who's come here, maybe because of him, but he's a very good person to get other good researchers to LTU, and it is an amazing thing what he has done. I mean, it's been growing enormously, this department, and mind you, Luleå is not, according to you in Stockholm, in the center of the world. For me, it is, but not for everyone.
So wrapping up a bit here, time flies. On the topic of the project, I mean, the project is super interesting. Looking forward to sort of steps 2 and 3. Moving on, especially hearing more about how you succeed when rolling out to the other municipalities. I mean, things tend to occur when you roll things out in pilot.
Yes.
What would you sort of, if you were to start this project all over again, what would you bring with you as sort of the success criteria that you actually had, or is it something that you were like, oh, I wish we'd have done this instead?
Now, one thing that I would have done is to have when we did the application, we didn't meet. I should have met with the other people. I mean, I know them. But
the application
for funding for the Predictive Movement, this special project. So we should have everything was written down. But my big thing in life is that you can't read and write and understand. You have to talk. So I would have had a workshop with everyone before we started, before we had the funding, just to see that we are on the same road or the same idea of way. And this has been, as everyone that doesn't have the same understanding of digitalization or the transport or also the package delivery, it's three different areas that should be working together. And there are people from 3 different areas now working together. So we should have been talking and we should have met. That was before Corona, so we could have met.
So Christian,
Yeah, from a technical perspective, the data was coming too late. So we started to develop the platform with simulated data. And if then really data comes in and requests from the package providers, then we have to change the platform again and refactor stuff. So that was a little bit of a blocker. So
okay,
but it's a progress to that I open the data. It's I mean, data is high value, right? So it takes time, but we couldn't wait until we have everything right to start the implementation. Would have taken too long, so we had to balance this out. Yeah,
I can understand. So, and I really think the sort of the problem reducing approach is really a successful way forward. I hope many other will do the same thing.
Yeah, of course.
Any other thought? We had some any other thoughts on topics that you wanted to share before we wrap this up?
Yes, I was actually thinking, because you were asking me before, we were talking about this ethical guidelines that the trustworthy AI, that guidelines from EU. And from my perspective, as I've been working as a policymaker for a long time, it's really useful to know that it should be lawful, it should be ethical, and should be robust. And then we had a discussion on this with the people who've been more working with technology and so on. And they's like, that was kind of boring. Of course, it should be like this. And then I said, if you said, well, if they would have written it would not be lawful, it would not be ethical and not robust, they could have written that. It would be a really different thing to work with AI then, and it wouldn't be good. And in some countries in the world, maybe that could be true. And they looked at me and it's like, oh, you can think that way too. And I was like, so this is really, even though it doesn't specify exactly, it's really pointing out a road on how we should use AI in EU. That it clearly says that we shouldn't use it in warfare and so on. So I think it is something we're using it in the right way, or so to say here in predictive movement. But I think it's something to think of, and everything that's done on a EU level, it's not bad and it's not unuseful, because I think this is really, really good.
Yeah, and we had a similar discussion in a previous episode with Mats Nell, head of innovation of Lantmäteriet, on the topic of sort of how to trust AI if AI was brought into official and authority decisions. How can I trust this? So that's you can check out. It's a previous episode we launched. Interesting discussion. So I would thank you a million times for today. And I had a really interesting discussion here, and I will be looking forward to chapter 2 and 3 of this project.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.